My dad said, "You're not my daughter anymore," and kicked me out, so I ghosted them all and bought the company that just fired him. Take a second to show us some love by subscribing. And let us know where you're listening from. It warms our hearts to see our global family. I remember the exact moment my father looked at me with pure disgust. March 15, 2023, my 24th birthday. I just walked into our family home in Decatur, Georgia, excited to celebrate with everyone. Instead, I found my parents, my older brother Larry, and my younger sister Shayla sitting around the dining table with someone I'd never seen before. A white woman in her 30s, blonde hair perfectly styled, wearing expensive jewelry that caught the light. "Jean," my father said, his voice cold as winter rain. "We need to talk." My stomach dropped. Something felt wrong. The air was thick with tension I couldn't name yet. My mother wouldn't meet my eyes. She just kept twisting her wedding ring, around and around, that nervous habit she'd had since I was little. The stranger smiled at me, but it wasn't friendly. It was victorious. "This is Christine," Dad continued. "Your half-sister." The words hit me like a freight train. Half-sister. I looked at my mother, waiting for her to laugh, to tell me this was some sick joke. Instead, tears rolled down her cheeks silently. "What?" I managed to whisper. Christine stood up, extending her hand like we were at some business meeting. "It's so nice to finally meet you, Jean. Dad's told me so much about you." "Dad." She called him Dad. My father, the man who raised me, who taught me to ride a bike, who promised nothing would ever come between our family. That man had another daughter. And from the look on everyone's faces, I was the last to know. "Sit down," my father commanded. I remained standing. "How long?" My voice cracked despite my attempt to sound strong. Christine answered before he could. 28 years. "I'm 4 years older than you, actually." She said it so casually, like she was discussing the weather. Not destroying my entire understanding of my family. My brother Larry finally spoke up. "We've known for 2 months, JJ. Dad told us he wanted to wait until Christine was ready to meet you." 2 months. My family had kept this secret for 2 months, meeting her, building relationships with her while I stayed in the dark. "Why now?" I demanded, looking directly at my father. He had the decency to look uncomfortable. "Christine's mother passed away last year. She reached out, wanted to know her family." "It's complicated, Jean." "Complicated?" I laughed bitterly. "You cheated on Mom." "That's not complicated, that's betrayal." "Watch your mouth," Dad snapped. "You don't know what you're talking about. Your mother and I had separated briefly when we were young." "Christine's mother and I, don't," Mom interrupted quietly. "Please don't explain it again. Not in front of Jean." But Christine couldn't resist. "My mother was his first love. They planned to get married before your mom got pregnant with you. Everything changed after that." The implication hung in the air like poison gas. I was the mistake. I was the reason he left his first love. My mother stood abruptly, leaving the room. I heard her bedroom door slam. Shayla fidgeted with her phone, clearly wanting to escape too. "There's more you need to know," Dad said, gesturing for everyone to sit. My legs felt weak, so I finally took a chair far from Christine. He pulled out a folder, the kind lawyers use. "I've been updating my will. With Christine in my life now, things need to be fair." Fair. That word would haunt me. Larry leaned forward, his financial advisor instincts kicking in. "Dad, what exactly are we talking about here?" "The house, the life insurance, my retirement accounts, the cabin in Tennessee, everything will be split 4 ways now instead of 3. Equal shares for all my children." My head spun calculating what that meant. Our family wasn't wealthy, but Dad had worked 32 years at Meridian Tech Solutions, climbing from junior developer to senior operations manager. His retirement fund was substantial. The house was worth $400,000. You're taking a quarter of our inheritance to give to someone we just met. Shayla burst out, finally finding her voice. Someone who showed up claiming, "She's not claiming anything," Dad interrupted sharply. "I had a DNA test done. Christine is my daughter. She has every right to what's mine." "And what about Mom?" I asked quietly. "What does she get after putting up with your lies for 28 years? His face darkened. "Your mother understands. This isn't about her." "It's always been about her," Christine interjected smoothly. "My mother lived in poverty while yours enjoyed this house, this life. My mom worked 3 jobs while pregnant with me because Dad couldn't help her financially. Don't pretend you've had it rough." The next 2 weeks were suffocating. Christine started showing up for family dinners every Sunday. She'd bring expensive wine and talk about her marketing career in Atlanta, dropping names of important clients and impressive projects. My mother would cook, serve everyone, then eat silently in the kitchen. I tried talking to her privately one night while doing dishes. "Mom, why are you letting this happen? You don't have to pretend everything's okay." She scrubbed a pot with unnecessary force. 28 years, Jean. I've kept this family together for 28 years. I'm not letting some woman's ghost destroy that now. "But Dad, your father made mistakes." "So did I. We worked through them before you were born. This is just another complication we'll manage." But she was breaking. I saw it in how she flinched when Christine called Dad, Daddy. I saw it in the wine bottles in the recycling bin that multiplied weekly. I saw it when I caught her crying in the laundry room at midnight. Larry pulled me aside after one particularly tense dinner. "You need to be nicer to Christine. Dad's serious about this." "Nicer? She's actively trying to replace us. She's our sister, JJ. Technically. She's a stranger who's dividing this family." Larry sighed, rubbing his temples. "Dad's making her the new regional coordinator at Meridian Tech. She's starting next month." My blood ran cold. "He got her a job. At his company. He says she's qualified. MBA from Emory, 10 years of marketing experience. Honestly, she is qualified. This isn't about qualifications, Larry. I should have seen it coming. The signs were all there, bright as neon. But I was too focused on my own job, my own life, to notice how thoroughly Christine was weaving herself into our family's fabric. I worked at Meridian Tech too, had been there for 2 years in their data analytics department. I'd earned my position through a competitive internship program, working 70-hour weeks to prove myself. I was proud of building something separate from Dad's shadow. The Monday Christine started, she showed up at my desk with coffee. "I thought we could grab lunch. Start fresh. I know this has been hard for you." I wanted to refuse. But everyone was watching, and I didn't want to be the villain. "Sure." Noon. Lunch was at this trendy spot downtown, expensive. Christine ordered confidently, chatting about her apartment in Buckhead, her Tesla, her friend group. Everything felt calculated to emphasize how successful she was. "I hope we can be real sisters," she said, reaching across the table to touch my hand. I pulled back instinctively. "It takes time." "I understand. I just want you to know, I'm not trying to take anything from you. I just want what's rightfully mine too." That phrase again. Rightfully mine. Like my entire existence had been stealing from her. Over the next month, I watched Christine charm everyone at Meridian Tech. She had this way of making people feel special, seen. She'd remember details about their kids, their hobbies. She brought donuts on Fridays. She stayed late, came in early. It started small. Comments in meetings like, maybe we should check Jean's numbers on that, or, I think there might be an error in the data analysis. Always phrased as concern, never outright accusation. My manager, Gerald Miller, started double-checking my work. Nothing was wrong, my analysis was solid. But seeds of doubt had been planted. Then Christine befriended Priya, my closest work friend. They started having lunch together. Priya began acting distant with me, cutting conversations short. One Friday, I overheard them in the bathroom. I was in the stall when they entered, didn't realize I was there. I just worry about her mental state, Christine was saying. This whole situation with our family has been so hard on her. I've noticed her work slipping. Jean's always been sharp, Priya defended me, but her voice held uncertainty. I know. But grief affects people differently. Finding out about me, feeling like she's losing her father's attention, it's a lot. I've caught her crying at her desk twice. That was a lie. A complete, calculated lie. Maybe you should talk to her. Priya suggested. I've tried. She shuts me out. Just, keep an eye on her. If she seems unstable, maybe mention it to Gerald. I sat frozen on that toilet, hand over my mouth to keep from screaming. She was systematically destroying my reputation. That night, I went through my work emails, my project files. Someone had been accessing my accounts. Small changes in reports, nothing obvious, but enough to make me look careless. All the access logs pointed back to my login credentials. I tried telling my father. That was my first mistake. Sunday dinner, I asked him to talk privately. We went to his study, surrounded by his books and awards. Dad, Christine is sabotaging me at work. She's accessing my accounts, spreading rumors, stop. His voice was steel. I'm not listening to this jealousy anymore, Jean. It's not jealousy. She's manipulating everyone, can't you see that? What I see is my daughter acting like a child because she has to share attention. Christine has been nothing but kind to you. She's tried to build a relationship, and you've thrown it back in her face. She's lying. Check the access logs on my accounts. Someone's been, enough. He slammed his hand on the desk. Christine told me you might make accusations like this. She said you've been unstable at work, emotional. I defended you. But now you're proving her right. My mouth fell open. You're believing her over me. Your daughter of 24 years over someone you've known for 3 months. She's my daughter too. And frankly, she's acting more mature about this situation than you are. The words were a knife to my chest. I left his study, walked straight past the dining room where everyone was waiting. My mother called after me, but I kept walking. Larry caught up with me in the driveway. JJ, wait. Don't leave like this. He chose her, I said numbly. In 3 months, she made him choose, and he chose her. That's not, it is. And you all let it happen. 2 weeks later, everything exploded. I was called into a meeting with Gerald Miller and HR Director Gay Williams. My stomach knotted immediately. Christine was already there, looking somber and professional. Jean, we need to discuss some serious issues, Gay began, sliding a folder across the table. Inside were printouts of emails I'd never sent. Messages to clients containing incorrect data, promising deliverables we couldn't meet, using unprofessional language. All sent from my email address. I didn't send these, I said immediately. Someone hacked my account. Christine spoke up, voice dripping with concern. Jean, I understand you've been under stress. Maybe you don't remember sending them. I've noticed you've seemed distracted, not yourself. Don't, I snapped. Don't pretend to care. You did this. These emails caused us to lose the Patterson account, Gerald said gravely. That's a $2 million contract. The client specifically cited these communications as reasons for terminating. Check the IP addresses. Check where these were sent from. We did, Gay said quietly. They were sent from your laptop, from your home IP address. Between midnight and 3 a.m. over the past 2 weeks. My laptop. That I'd brought home. That sat in my apartment. My apartment that Christine had visited once, a sisterly bonding dinner I'd reluctantly agreed to. She'd asked to use my bathroom. I'd left her alone for 15 minutes. Long enough to clone my laptop, steal my credentials. This is insane, I whispered. You're firing me. We're letting you go, effective immediately, Gay confirmed. Given the severity of the client loss, we can't offer a severance package. You'll need to return your badge and laptop. I looked at Christine. She met my eyes with a slight smile, so quick no one else would catch it. But I saw it. Pure, calculated victory. I drove straight to my parents' house. Burst through the door without knocking. Dad was in the living room with Christine. Of course she was there. She'd probably called him immediately. You got me fired, I said to Christine. You framed me, stole my credentials, and destroyed my career. Jean, honey, Dad started. I heard about what happened at work, Christine interrupted. I'm so sorry. I tried to defend you, but the evidence, you created the evidence. My voice was shaking. You've been planning this since the day you showed up. Destroying me piece by piece. Dad stood up, his face darkening. That's enough. Christine has been trying to help you. If you got yourself fired because you couldn't handle having a sister, are you serious right now? She manipulated everything. She's been poisoning you against me, sabotaging my work, turning everyone against me, and you can't see it because you're too busy trying to make up for 28 years of guilt. Get out, Dad said quietly. The words hung in the air. What? I said get out of my house. I'm done with your accusations, your jealousy, your drama. Christine is my daughter. She's family. And if you can't accept that, if you're going to keep attacking her, then you're not welcome here. Dad, please, I whispered. You're not my daughter anymore. I left that house and never looked back. Blocked all their numbers. Changed my email. Moved from my apartment in Decatur to a tiny studio in East Atlanta. I had enough savings for 3 months, maybe 4 if I was careful. Larry tried reaching out through mutual friends. Shayla sent messages through Instagram I never opened. My mother called from restricted numbers, but I let them all go to voicemail. I deleted them without listening. I was done. They'd made their choice. But I wasn't broken. I was angry. That anger became fuel. I'd graduated top of my class from Georgia Tech with dual degrees in computer science and business analytics. I'd been good at my job, great, even. Christine had destroyed my reputation at one company, but she couldn't erase my skills. I spent 16-hour days building something new. A data analytics consulting firm. Just me at first, taking small contracts, working from coffee shops and libraries. I called it Apex Solutions. Within 6 months, I'd built a client base. Within a year, I'd hired 3 employees. Within 18 months, I was competing for mid-size contracts against firms with decades of history. I learned everything about business acquisition, hostile takeovers, corporate restructuring. I studied case law on business ethics. I built relationships with investors who liked my story, young black woman building something from nothing. By 2024, Apex Solutions was generating $7 million in revenue. I'd moved into a real office in Midtown. My team had grown to 15 people. And I'd started researching Meridian Tech Solutions very, very carefully. Every financial report. Every quarterly statement. Every contract they held. Every weakness in their corporate structure. Meridian Tech had problems. They'd lost several major accounts over the past year, including the Patterson account they'd blamed on me. Their stock was down 32%. Leadership was stagnant. And they were hemorrhaging talent to competitors. They were ripe for acquisition. I spent 9 months building a coalition. Investment firms who saw the potential. Private equity groups who wanted a foothold in the Atlanta tech sector. I leveraged every connection, every relationship I'd built. On November 3, 2024, Apex Solutions, backed by Greystone Capital Partners, made an offer to acquire Meridian Tech Solutions. $15 million. The board resisted at first. But our offer was fair, our financing was solid, and their shareholders were tired of losing money. By December 15, the deal was done. I owned Meridian Tech Solutions. Not just a portion. Controlling interest. I was 25 years old, and I owned the company that had fired me. The company where my father had worked for 32 years. The company where Christine had destroyed my reputation. My first day as owner, I walked through those halls with my head high. People who'd gossiped about me, who'd believed Christine's lies, who'd watched me get fired, they all stared. I called an all-staff meeting. Stood in the same conference room where I'd been terminated. Good morning. I'm Jean Morrison, your new owner. We're implementing immediate changes. First, we're conducting a full audit of all client accounts. Second, we're reviewing all employee conduct over the past 2 years. Third, we're restructuring management. I looked directly at Christine. She'd gone pale. Anyone found to have engaged in fraudulent activity, harassment, or corporate sabotage will be terminated immediately. No exceptions. The audit took 3 weeks. My team was thorough. We found everything. The access logs showing Christine had used stolen credentials to access my accounts. The IP records proving she'd used sophisticated software to mask her digital footprint. The testimony from a junior IT tech who'd helped her, thinking it was a harmless prank. The falsified reports she'd created to make me look incompetent. We found more too. Christine had been embezzling. Small amounts, routed through fake vendor accounts. Over 18 months, she'd stolen $83,000. She'd been setting up my father to take the fall. I called her into my office, the owner's office now, with its view of the Atlanta skyline. She walked in trying to maintain confidence, but her hands shook. "You can't prove anything," she said. I slid the folder across my desk. "Actually, I can prove everything. Every lie, every manipulation, every dollar you stole." Her face crumbled. "I'm your sister. You're a stranger who destroyed my life because you were angry at circumstances I didn't control. You wanted revenge on a family that didn't know you existed. And you chose me as your target. What are you going to do?" "I'm pressing charges for embezzlement, fraud, and identity theft. I'm also filing a civil suit for defamation and wrongful termination." "You're done, Christine. Not just here. Everywhere. Your father will never forgive you. My father chose you over me. He said I wasn't his daughter. So what he thinks doesn't matter anymore." Security escorted her out. She was arrested in the parking lot. That afternoon, I called my father to my office. He came, probably thinking he could fix this, smooth it over. He walked in and stopped dead, seeing me behind that massive desk. "Jean," Dad said, his voice uncertain for the first time I could remember. "We need to talk about Christine." "There's nothing to talk about. She's been charged with multiple felonies. The evidence is overwhelming." He sat down heavily. I didn't know. She told me, she told you I was unstable. Jealous. Unprofessional. And you believed her. You chose a stranger over your daughter of 24 years. You're still my daughter. I laughed bitterly. No. You said I wasn't. March 15, 2023, you said, "You're not my daughter anymore." Those were your exact words. And you know what? You freed me. I was angry. I didn't mean, you meant it. And everything that's happened since has been because of that choice. You enabled Christine. You gave her access to hurt me. You stood by while she destroyed my career. You chose guilt over love, and now you're facing the consequences. She's going to prison, he whispered. Yes. For 3 to 5 years, probably. And you need to decide if you're the man who raised me to value justice, or the man who protects criminals because of shared DNA. I stood up, walking to the window. The city spread out below, full of possibility. I'm also offering you early retirement. Full pension, health benefits. It's generous, more than you'd get otherwise. But you're part of the old Meridian tech. I'm building something different now. He was quiet for a long moment. What about your mother? Shayla? Larry? That's up to them. The door's open if they want to walk through it without conditions. But I'm done carrying the weight of this family's dysfunction. I'm done being the scapegoat. I'm done shrinking myself to make others comfortable. He left without another word. 2 months later, I had lunch with my mother. Just the two of us, neutral territory, a cafe in Virginia Highland. She looked older, tired, but there was something different in her eyes. Strength, maybe. I filed for divorce, she said. I'm sorry it took me so long to choose you. We cried together. It wasn't perfect, and it didn't erase the pain. But it was a start. Shayla reached out through email. We're taking it slow, rebuilding trust. Larry apologized 6 months later, admitted he'd been a coward, chosen the easy path. I haven't forgiven him yet. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Today, Apex Solutions and Meridian Tech have merged into Morrison Technology Group. We're worth $42 million and growing. I'm 26 years old, and I've built an empire from the ashes of betrayal. The girl who was told she wasn't a daughter anymore became a woman who didn't need that family's validation to know her worth. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's becoming so successful, so powerful, so completely self-made that the people who try to destroy you become irrelevant. I didn't just survive. I conquered. And every single day, I'm grateful my father kicked me out. Because I never would have built this life if I'd stayed in that house, accepting scraps, fighting for love that should have been freely given. They tried to break me. Instead, they freed me. And that's the greatest gift they could have given, even if they didn't mean to.